Jason. Here we go. That's wonderful. Hey, welcome everyone. It's Thursday. That means broker talk. So happy that you've joined us. I'm Larry Lawfer, your host. Each week, we bring you a guest who's an expert in their area of the real estate industry. This week, we are taking a look at brand and brand development in real estate. Our guest started her life as a fine artist and began working as a print designer. Anyone working in this space quickly realizes that staying on top of web and digital web design is essential. Samantha has a Fortune 500 list of clients, but cherishes the opportunity to work with independent contractors to build their brand. Hey, if you don't understand what brand is and how that relates to you as an independent contractor and how it could bring you greater value to you personally than your corporate franchise brand, stay tuned. There's more. Before I bring in today's guest, I'd like to take a moment to bring in someone who has been with the show from the very beginning and needs no further introduction. Jim Lowenstern is the CEO and founder of Castles Unlimited International. Welcome, Jim. Thanks for getting here on.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that, you saying that. Samantha Paris-Estes, artist called Paris.com, is an artist, a web and motion graphics designer, art director, and brand builder for her clients. Her unique background brings her clients a deeper and more nuanced brand structure. We're excited to have her here with us today. Thanks for joining us today, Samantha.
Having me. I really appreciate being here.
Well, it's exciting to have. So, artist, web designer, designer, print designer. How do you keep all of this straight in your head? It's left brain, it's right brain.
I don't know. I think I just like a variety. It's very challenging to me. And I feel that it makes you better at what you do between fine art and designing and website design. It makes me a better designer because I'm well rounded for my clients and myself.
Well, I think that we mentioned that we're going to be talking about brand. And what is your definition of brand, whether it's a corporate brand or whether it's an individual brand?
So a brand usually is the feeling that people get when they think about your company. And what I help with specifically is the identifying brand, like your brand identifying, like your logo design, your marketing pieces, your marketing collateral. I help bring that brand alive with having that aspect of both the visual and what you think and how you relate to the brand together in one. So it has that kind of tangible, untangible, both of those aspects together, making it a brand.
And so my understanding of a brand is something that you create that when people think of it, they think of you. Do I have
Yeah,
that correct?
that's exactly right. But so what I do is the other piece of it, it's the visual piece of it. So you have like brand strategists that work on the brand, work on the mission, work on all of that, getting your line straight of what you want to put out there to your viewers or your clients. And then I come up with those visuals that bring that all together in that cohesive state of look through all channels of design. And when I say channels, I mean anything it touches from print, digital, broadcast, motion graphics, website, and it becomes one basically.
The Nike swoosh would be an example of a brand mark. Um,
Exactly.
um, how do you spell relief? You have to be old to know that answer, but a lot of people know it was a brand strategist. And you're about to say something, Jim. What's up?
I don't remember that one. So, how has branding changed with digital media and the internet? What besides a logo? What else does a company need now?
Well, I find that it's actually brought more to the table where people are like, wow, I need a Zoom background. I need motion graphics. I need to tell this in a video. And then we need motion graphics on top of that. We need to do digital ads, more broadcasts, things of that nature. Even PowerPoints, Google Docs, presentations. That's all the digital aspects are really coming out. And now that we're kind of getting out of this, interesting enough, now I'm getting more print ones, because then people want to do the other side of it where people are home and they want to send them something in the mail because they're not going anywhere like they used to.
Yeah, the snail mail has come back again, even with the horrible postmaster general that we have in office right now.
Right.
So print is a big thing,
That's why
but
we never got political on this show.
he's not a political appointee, is he? In any event,
I don't even know who you're talking about.
the postmaster general.
What's his name?
But I don't know, and I hope to never know again because he's been absolutely pretty hard. Hey, let's get away from this for a moment because print is working again. I love print. Um, what type of client do you best work with, Samantha? People who have an understanding of what they are and who they are, or can you help them bring that out?
I can definitely do both, but I think I really enjoy a client who knows who they are, what their brand is, but they want to see it with identifying it with a logo, identifying it with that logo identity, that brand identity through all those pieces. And then I really enjoy working with them because I bring that to life. And it's very exciting to work with a company after doing all of that and doing a whole brand package, how happy they are and excited to see it's all coming to life. Basically,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
work for what you do, and then to see a visual with it just makes it more real somehow. And it's I truly enjoy doing that.
I do as well. Now I'm going to tell as soon as we get back from our first break here, I'm going to share a story about how I heard about how to define your brand. Quite often we think we are our brand and we think we know what we're saying to people, but quite often they don't. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When you are searching for a new home, you want to be working with a realtor with years of experience, a professional with intimate knowledge of the communities that you are considering moving to, and someone who really wants to represent you as a buyer in what is probably the largest investment you will ever make in your lifetime. The realtors at Castles Unlimited want to be your choice when you are ready to make your next move. Please visit us at castlesunlimited.com or call us anytime at 800-967-3561. The realtors at Castles Unlimited are here to help your next purchase, lease, or sale of any real estate the easiest decision you've ever made. Start your search anytime, 24/7 at castlesunlimited.com.
And we're back. So I was told a long time ago that to determine your brand, what you mean to other people, is for you to ask them, give me three characteristics that represent me. Ask people that you work with. Ask people you worked for. Ask family members. And when you gather all of those, they'll have three characteristics. You're smart, you're stupid, you're, a detail oriented, you're very creative, whatever it would be. And in asking other people, they're telling you what they think about you. So then that becomes your brand. Is that a good way to start with your own personal brand development?
I think it's really interesting. I've never heard anything like that. I think it could give you some really good pointers and insight into what you do. But I also think you should stay steady to what you believe, what makes you successful as a company, how you see your vision, and kind of stick to that goal.
Well, we're
Samantha, what is your process then? A new client comes and says, what we're doing isn't working. We'd like to go in a new direction. What do you suggest we do first?
I would probably ask them a couple of questions, and then I would develop a creative brief. And that's really my way of getting inside my client's head. I ask specific questions to their clientele, their market, their niche, and then go from there. And it really gives me a lot of insight. And that's how I do, design successful logos.
Well, I'm not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot a little bit. Pretend Jim is your client. What kind of questions, you know me, so ask Jim so a couple of questions that would give you an insight into him before you create a creative brief.
I would ask you, what are you wanting to do this for? What are the reasons that you want to do this? Who are you hoping to reach with this? Where do you want to go in 5 years? What do you think makes a good brand? What do you like about a logo? What logos don't you like and why? What do you think makes a successful logo? And do you understand the difference between a brand and the logo?
Those are all good questions. Um, I'm not quite sure I understand the difference. Well, logo is a mark, and a brand is an embodiment of not just the mark, but everything that you deliver to your clients.
The
Is that
Yeah.
brand's the whole package.
yeah?
It's everything from A to Z. The little mark next to the URL on the browser. What are
Yeah.
those? What are those called?
Favicon.
Favicon?
Favicon. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an important thing
Yep.
these days, and it's so tiny. You don't have much to work with, but yet I guess it's very important. You take a look on at your screen, and it's there. Like Zoom right now, I see it. It's the little screen basically with a camera,
Yep.
kind of a camera, I guess. Simple but
And all
memorable.
those, that's that brand package I'm speaking of. All those, I'll just call them identifiers for now, but all of those aspects of design that people really don't realize, that every day we use, we see them, they're all around us, and everything from print to digital design, it's pretty amazing. So when we do that package, that's all there that I do for my clients.
So it's the favicon, it's the logo, it's how it appears in a letterhead, how it appears on a card, how it appears on your website, how it appears on your real estate signs, on your open house signs. It
Yep.
it has to be um, continued throughout everything that you do. And what about uh, private Facebook or private social media versus business social media? Um, do you let your clients in on both? Do you keep them separate? What's your theories on that kind of stuff? Because social media is huge now.
Right. I would probably keep them separate. And I actually am guilty as charged with this one for myself. I honestly have a Facebook that is both. I only do that because of the nature of my business. I feel that it's not a bad thing to let people in my life and get to know who I am a little bit, because I think that makes them identify with me. They're asking me to do something that's very sensitive. A logo design is very, identity design or any kind of design is very close to somebody, and it's very personal. So it's like, why don't I let them get to know me as well? But as for someone else, I might say, why don't you do your business separate from your personal, unless maybe they're someone like myself and they want that to come through. I don't think it's necessarily always bad.
Samantha, the art that's behind you, and I guess that's a Zoom screen. That's
That's,
not. Yeah, yeah. You're not
Oh,
in
that's a
front of
Zoom screen?
you're
yeah,
not in front of an actual brick wall.
no,
So when you made that for yourself, did you just start with the brick wall and do digital? Uh, was it all digitally done with the shadows and everything, or was there actually a brick wall and you took a photo of the art behind you?
that's actually a digital template that I took and then took photographs of the real paintings and then
Yep,
put them within that template.
that's awesome.
Eh,
And just one more question, Mike. So online, you sell some of your art, and there's all kinds of prices. Um, I think some are, one price, and some are maybe 10 times as much. How do you decide how to price art?
I decide by how much time it takes to do them, as well as the resources to do them. And yeah, I guess that's really it. It's honestly, to be completely transparent, it's really hard to price your art. Um, Larry, I know your wife is an artist too. I'm sure she can relate to this, but um, yeah, I try to price it with the value of what I know other artists are pricing art with. What we do the same thing, and that usually helps. But I find it challenging.
Yeah. I know that Kathy Souls and kathysouls.com, my wife's page, is she does it the same way that you do it. It is materials. It's also size. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing something huge versus something like you have behind you, it makes a difference because that is time and materials as well. Also, the competitive market, what will sell, what can sell. But all of you guys, all of you artists, also have gallery owners who get a piece of your pie if they're representing you and selling you. Do you sell through galleries or is it all commissioned work? I know you do an awful lot of commissioned work.
Yeah, I do commission work, and I sell all on my own. I'm not working with a gallery at this time.
Hmm.
But if I were, usually galleries take about, as you said, 50%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not unusual because they're marketing you and they have the bricks and mortar where people come in and look at the work or they take the work out. They get paid for their efforts as well. Um, I do know, and what I think is really very unique about you is that I know some of the independent contractors, some of the smaller businesses, like most of our audience, you've helped. You've also created some artwork for their places, and that artwork from the ones that I've seen, the four or five of them that I've seen, is it really is an amalgamation of the brand and the logo, but then so much more because as an artist, you can look deeper and more broadly at a subject, and I think that's pretty fantastic.
Thank you. And it's funny because I really enjoy doing specific decor for specific rooms or homes or businesses or whatnot. And I think it's the designer in me. I'm tailoring to the market, the needs, and I'm doing kind of the same thing with the abstract art. Someone might have, a color in mind, and a decor that they want to, make pop. And they're like, I want blacks or greens or whatever. And, I can kind of do that.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that is, and that's because you're unique. Um, Commercial art and fine art. Commercial art is somebody gives you what they want you to do, and fine artist, you don't want to hear anything from anybody. So that's an amalgamation of, well, I like orange, I like cerulean blue, and I can include that. That's a different process. Hey, let's get back to more of this, but let's pay some of the bills right here. We'll be right back.
Smells so good.
Hey, welcome back to broker-talk.com. And our guest today is Samantha Paris-Estes, and her website is artistcalledparis.com. So, Samantha, how do you keep it all together with the right brain, left brain stuff going on? Do you sometimes end up the day with a headache, like I'm thinking about this, but I have to do this?
Absolutely. I'm old school. I do put everything digitally in my calendar on my computer, but I like to write things down and cross them off. Kind of helps me just stay connected with everything that I'm doing. But I definitely do have some days where I might not want to be doing design and I might want to do some fine art, but you have to stay on track and get your deadlines done. So I'm never late on any deadline.
Yeah, well, that's essential. And our audience is all most of them are independent contractors or people like Jim who owns multiple offices with other independent contractors. Have you ever had any difficulty with like working with independent contractors, say real estate agents, where you had to understand what the franchise was demanding of the individual to be in their brand, along with um, their own individual tastes and wants?
Absolutely. That happens a lot. And basically, we just go over all of that. If there's certain branding guidelines I need to stay within, I ask those questions right up front. I know my basically where I can maybe innovate a little bit, maybe be creative, but not too much, and kind of stay in those confinements if I need to.
I know that most corporations have, I forget what they're called, but they have their guidelines. There's a specific name for it. Um, a- and franchises will, real estate franchises will as well. Do you have to get those documents before you create for an individual so you understand the parameters in which you work?
Yeah, that would be helpful. If they had them, I would ask for that.
Um,
Any,
uh,
anything up, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, is always helpful. Any
right.
information I can get before the design happens is always helpful.
In real estate, there are a bunch of different rules, and one of them is that in anything that you are putting out as an individual independent contractor, even working for a franchise, that you not only have your phone number, but you have the phone number of the company that you work. You have to identify the company that you are working for so that if a consumer has an issue, they're not calling you up and say, "Hey, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Let me talk to your boss." You have to have that on, and that is one of those things that most agents, when they go out and build their brand, don't do. And although the industry hasn't gone out after people like that, they will and they can if that stuff isn't on there. And you lose all of those signs, and everything that you've done, with that doesn't have the, the phone number and the name of the company, uh, gets lost. You know,
Right.
so hey, be careful out there when you set up your signs and your logo and all of that. Make sure that you're also including your franchise or you're
Depends on
smiling, Jim.
it depends what state you're in. Florida is very tough. Massachusetts isn't.
Well,
Depends.
Massachusetts is tough. They just don't enforce it very often.
Well, how tough is that? Florida, they enforce everything,
Yeah.
and then it also depends on the brand. Some brands are paying closer attention to it than others.
Yeah, the ones that I know, the bigger brands, including Castles Unlimited, you have to have a third of the space has to be dedicated to.
It's supposed to be 50%
Yeah, I
by
think it's
law.
a third, but maybe that's state by state as well. It's got to be there though, and you want that to be there. So, Samantha, in our final moments here, what types of clients are you looking for that you feel as though you work best with?
With clients that really see the value in design and really want to take their brand to the next level. If they don't have one, they want someone to help them and get there. And someone that's open to creativity and, to maybe conceptualize something that they wouldn't have thought of.
Well, if you don't know anything about brand or design, you're just a regular person, who doesn't have any of that training. How would you know if you like it or you don't? I mean, we intuitively like some things versus another thing, but there's a lot of bad design out there that people, you know, just live with.
Yeah. I mean, there is, and it's very subjective. So, I mean, it's up to the customer to maybe find me, maybe read testimonials or see me on LinkedIn or my website, and they just connect. And that's what you want, because that's probably the right client for you or for me.
The five pieces of art behind you, um, were those commissioned or were those just your uh, your works without a client?
So these are 5 paintings that are actually available for sale, and this is my shameless plug of putting it in back of me for my marketing strategy.
Hmm.
Um, and these are just paintings that I did on my own for creativity.
They look like interstellar.
I've heard that before. I actually paint with a lot of texture, so this doesn't give it a fair representation, but on my website, I try to take very close in shots so you can see all the depth that they have and all the texture.
Yeah. Takes a long time for oil to dry. Are you working in oil, or what is your material?
I do acrylics and mixed media. I kind of went away from oil just because of health reasons,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's toxic.
yeah, a long time to dry.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim, any further questions?
No, I'm thinking our logo is got a little bit of outer space
It does.
in the background, and I'm trying to imagine what Samantha could do to
You
bring
guys should you guys
more
should
depth to it.
yeah, you guys should definitely talk about it after the show. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's always a pleasure. Samantha, do you want to give our audience the ways in which they can be in touch with you?
Sure. You can go to my website, which you've said, artistcalledparis.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at artistcalledparis. All my emails there. If you like to inquire about meeting, I do free consultations. If you want to talk about your design needs or a painting, we can chat about it more.
It's such a pleasure to have had you join us today and talk about this brand. Um,
Yeah, so much.
uh, Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Samantha. It's a pleasure.
Next week, tune in for another really interesting show. And thanks again to Samantha, artist called Paris.